Welcome to the Inner Growth Odyssey, where we dive deep into the heart of personal transformation and growth. I'm fortunate your host on this journey towards self-discovery and improvement. As you can tell, today we're going to be talking about something that is quite challenging to some of us, or maybe most of us. Today we're talking overcoming self-doubt. In a while, I'll be bringing in a special guest who is a dear friend of mine who is going to share his remarkable story and give us some positive insights on how to deal and how to overcome self-doubt. But first, let's set the stage, shall we? Self-doubt is that inner voice that says, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or what if I fail? It's a voice that can paralyze us, keeping us from pursuing our dreams and reaching our full potential. But here's the thing, that voice is not the truth. It's a manifestation of fear. And like all fear, it can be overcome. But how do we do it? How do we overcome that? So, how do we silence the critic within and move forward with confidence? I have some strategies that I'm going to share with you. 3 of them. Some have helped me and helped many others also. Number 1 would be to recognize and challenge your inner critic. Begin by acknowledging that the voice of self-doubt is just a voice, not a reality. Challenge it and ask yourself, is what I'm telling myself based on fact or is it based on fear? Because often you'll find that it's fear speaking and not the truth, So number 2 is cultivate self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Remember that everyone experiences doubt and that is okay to be imperfect. Okay, treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend in your situation, legitimately speaking. And also take action. Action is very powerful and it is the antidote to doubt. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. Sometimes small steps are just as significant. Remember what I always say, small progress is still progress. Each action you take, it builds the evidence against the doubtful voices in your head, proving that you can do more than you actually think. So to add another layer to the conversation, I would love to introduce to you my good friend, a person whom I've known since high school. He was a grade above me and he's a very enthusiastic individual. And when I asked him to be part of this episode, the excitement was beyond what I could imagine. So I'd like to appreciate him for taking his time and actually recording this for us. So Mr. T, take it away.
Hello everyone, I hope you're well. My name is Tumelo Soldaat and I've been invited to join in on today's episode as Fortunate continues to explore and speak about having a positive mindset and a healthy lifestyle. Today's topic, my dear friends, is something that I believe a lot of us struggle with, and that is self-doubt. This could possibly be ringing a bell in many people's heads. Like I said, a lot of people struggle with it, and I believe we all know that when a person struggles with something from an early age or for a long time, it ends up becoming a part of their lives and very difficult to get rid of. Self-doubt is unfortunately for many people one of those things that have become a part of their lives without them even realizing, and this is because it seems normal to them. It's a part of their day-to-day lives and they don't see it as being different or being weird. And this goes to a famous saying that habit trumps common sense. Now, getting into a bit more detail of what self-doubt is, some sources either on the internet or the dictionary define it in simple words as not believing in yourself or not believing your abilities, whatever the case may be. However, I want to share with you today something that I learned while I was at ministry school a while ago. Many people like to think that self-doubt is a sign of being humble because you're not boasting about yourself. But if you would look at the definition of pride, put in simple words, is too much focus on yourself. Now, what we get from this definition is that pride not only looks at what we tend to think it involves, but it also looks at another part. It doesn't only look at the people who are boastful, but it also focuses on those who focus on what they can't do or what they don't have. And with this in mind, wouldn't we say self-doubt is a part of being prideful? Hold that thought. Self-doubt is caused by many things, and I believe, and I want you to note that this is what Tumelo Soldaat, who is not an expert, believes, that many times self-doubt is not the issue. Before you disagree with me, allow me to explain. Self-doubt is often a consequence or a result of something else. It has a root cause in many cases. And this is often what makes it difficult to deal with. Many people tend to want to deal with the self-doubt without realizing that there's a root cause, there's something that's causing it, and end up failing to deal with it. And this is unfortunately what makes it difficult to deal with, because you first need to search and dive deep into your heart and mind to try and find out what could possibly be the root cause of this self-doubt in your life, and try to deal with that cause. And many times dealing with the cause automatically deals with the self-doubt. I've mentioned that self-doubt is caused by many things, and everyone has different experiences. Therefore, there's no one solution fits all. You need to really search for what's causing the self-doubt in your life, because the root cause in your life may not be the same as the next person's. For some people, it may be triggered by low self-esteem, and this is what triggered self-doubt in my life. Of course, I'm speaking about something that I know very well. It is something that I struggled with for a long time, and it is still a work in progress. I've come a very long way. I've dealt with most of it, but it's still a work in progress. And this is, for many people, what triggers self-doubt. Having low self-esteem and not believing in themselves is often what causes it. For some people, it may be triggered by having goals that are too high, or setting time frame that is too short to reach your goals. Many of us know our potential and we want to be somewhere in life. However, being too hard on yourself only makes things worse rather than helping you. You need to be lenient with yourself. You need to set reasonable and achievable goals within a reasonable time frame. Because even if the goal is not too high and the time frame is too short, it will still be very difficult to reach it. So one needs to really think and plan properly. Now, my dear friends, we often tend to be lenient and patient with other people, but get to be very strict with ourselves. Self-doubt needs you to be lenient and patient with yourself, because if you are too strict with yourself, you will fail. And if you fail, this will make the self-doubt worsen. So you need to really be patient with yourself. You need to be reasonable. You need to be lenient. Many people, especially the youth, struggle with self-doubt. And this is often what leads to depression and consequently suicide. Now, that is why it is important to have such platforms where we could learn from people who have experienced these things, and for them to share with us how they dealt with them. And if this could help in saving one person's life, then the statistics for suicides and depression could possibly decrease. My friend, in life you shouldn't have a know-it-all mindset. You should always be a learner. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up for failing, as many times failure is a learning experience where we get to know what works and what doesn't. Think positively of yourself, speak positively, and take care of yourself. You are enough, and you can do it if you put your mind to it. The sky is only a limit. You've got this, and God is with you all the way. Trust in Him. Have an awesome day, and be blessed.
Thank you very much, Soldaat, for sharing that story. It was quite insightful for me. I wrote down a few points that you said. Number one, self-doubt is a part of being prideful. That question. Number two, being too hard on yourself makes things worse. I mean, that makes sense. That really makes sense, because you have to backtrack and go back to the time, go back to the memory bank and realize when you are hard on yourself, what happened? Like, how did you feel afterwards? And then number three, what you said is be lenient and patient with yourself. Yeah. Like, that is my mindset, like, going forward, bro. Like, be lenient and patient with yourself. And lastly, don't have a know-it-all mindset. That is what kills us. Yeah, it's a killer. But thank you very much for sharing your story and for being such a powerful example of what it means to confront and be on the journey of overcoming self-doubt. You're not alone. Remember that. To our listeners, I want you to remember this. Overcoming self-doubt is not about eradicating the fear that you have or the uncertainty from our lives. It is about learning to move forward despite them. It's about believing in ourselves and our ability to grow, learn, and succeed. So let's take the steps, however small, to challenge our self-doubt, to embrace our worth, and to unlock our potential. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Motivated Mindset, and to give us a follow on Spotify, leave a rating. But thank you very much for joining me. And until next time, I want you to take care of yourself and remember that you're stronger than your doubts. Remember to stay kind and that God loves you always.